Hi there, I'm Lori Sharonbrock, and I'm here with Chris Shooker of Digital Horizons, and this is our newest episode of What's on the Horizon. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm good. So I have a question. We've recently had some winter storms around here, and it's common in the summer. We had one too, a pretty big one, that knocked out power.
Yeah.
So how reliable are our smart devices when it comes to having a power outage?
Sure. So things like power outages or loss of internet, things like that, would be kind of handled differently. Obviously, power is needed for any of these things to work. And usually the question that comes up is what happens without internet? Without power, just because that's a real quick answer, obviously nothing works. When power comes back on, obviously it depends on what the system has or what it's capable of. But more complex systems in a home automation environment, you'll typically have what's called a processor or a controller. And they have, just like a computer, they have a startup sequence. And after power loss, they have essentially a configuration and everything that they need to be at when they turn back on. And then, depending on the complexity of the system, they can be ready to go in 3 to 5 or maybe upwards of 10 minutes, depending on what's happening. So in that scenario, and for a lot of our systems, we recommend the use of what's called a battery backup. Or UPS. And that device will ensure that not only is there power during outages, but also the device will get what's called a clean sine wave. There isn't variation in the voltage, which is really, really good for electronics. The power discussion is long and in depth. With that said, the networking portion, most of our systems, if not all, are perfectly fine operating without internet. They exist internally on the home's internal network. And a lot of people get that differentiation mixed up quite a bit, where they will get a call and they go, I don't have Wi-Fi. And then I go, okay, well, on the upper corner of your phone, do you see the radiating pattern? They go, yeah, I have that. And then I go, okay, well, that means your network is working. Your phone is connected to your network. But maybe your modem's not working. Maybe the service to your home is out. And so having internet versus having no network are different things. Most of our automation systems are perfectly fine operating without internet. If you're trying to access things on the internet through them, they may not work. So if you're trying to stream from Spotify or Pandora, then of course those won't work. But if you need to operate the lights or internally arm your security system or any number of those things for everything that exists in the home, you won't have any problems doing that. So yeah, they work fine without internet. And then the power question is they have to have power.
And those battery systems in there, I mean, those will work regardless of whether you have power to your house, right? I mean, that's the importance of having that. Your house can stay armed or secure, especially for what we see a lot in this area is people don't live here all the time. And so knowing that during a summer storm, we had a pretty big one this summer, and we had a lot of neighbors who weren't there. Days. While they rebuilt that, but their house was still secure because their battery backup is installed.
There's a couple different levels of battery backup. The ones that we typically install are going to be considered more local, meaning if there's an equipment rack with a bunch of AV stuff in it, there can be a battery backup in there. When we install our security systems, both the security panel and then a device called a communicator that usually communicates through the internet or cellular, it will have its own battery backup. And then on a house-wide scenario, which are becoming more popular, you can have whole home batteries. All of those types of batteries have a finite runtime. Just like AA batteries, in your personal devices, they only last so long. So when you have an extended period of power outage, it's going to depend on those battery lights they'll live a certain duration. So if you have a scenario where either you're super concerned about having extended amounts of power outage, or you just want the peace of mind, then something like a whole house battery or a generator are necessary. And then based on what your power sources are, whether you have solar, if you have a battery backup, if you have a generator, we back up our systems with that knowledge in mind. So if we know you're going to have a generator, our UPS in the equipment rack to keep the automation and the network and all that kind of fun stuff going doesn't have to be as big, because we know within 15 or 20 seconds the generator will be ready to go. But if you don't have that, then some of those things might need a little longer runtime. So it's all part of a larger conversation, but things operate when they have power and whether or not you have internet, and it's just a scenario situation.
Sure. Cool. Well, that was really good to know, because I think, like you said, people get confused on the difference of those. That was a really great discussion. So thank you so much for that.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in our next episode.